everyone. Today I'm going to show you guys the basic proportions for drawing a face. Once you learn the basics, then you can vary it and change things up to make faces look like how you want to, if you want to make them more like characters or more realistic. But this is going to be the basic proportions that you and rules you follow when you draw a face, okay? So all you need for this is something to draw with and paper or cardboard to draw on. Ideally, if you can get a pencil, that would be the best thing to use. And I want you to start out by drawing lightly with the pencil so that you can go in later with it heavier to mark your final lines, okay? Because we're going to have lots of lines on here that are just for getting the proportions right. I'm going to use my marker because otherwise you guys won't be able to see it on the paper, okay? So let's get started. The first thing that you want to do is you want to draw a good sized circle near the top of your paper. The second thing that you're going to do is draw a horizontal line about in the middle of your circle. If you want to be exact and you have a ruler at home, you can do that. So you've got your horizontal line. Now you want to find the center, vertical center between this point and this point, and make a little mark. That's going to be about there. Now find the vertical center from your middle line in the bottom of your circle, and that's going to be about there, okay? Now you want to draw lines across. And one trick that I use, if I do not have a ruler handy, you can just fold a piece of paper a couple times, and that's going to kind of give you a straight edge. So you can put that on the paper and just use that to draw your line, okay? So those are about in the middle, halfway. I'm going to draw another line here, okay? So now I've divided my circle into 4 sections. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to figure out the distance from here to here. Not the height of the circle, but the height of the top 3/4, right? So I'm going to use my fingers for this. I'm going to measure this, and I'm going to try and keep my fingers exactly where they were. I'm going to move them down here. I'm going to make a mark here. That's one way you can get that measurement. The other thing you can do, if you grab that folded piece of paper, is you can make a mark right at the top and right at the bottom of this line, not the circle, but right here. And then you can bring it down here, and now you're going to measure from this line to here. Oh, see how much my fingers had moved? So this is a better way to do it. So this is my mark now, right? From this line to this. All right, now that I've got that, now I'm going to draw a second circle. I want the bottom to be here and the top to be here, okay? So this circle is smaller than this one, so remember the edges aren't going to come out to here. So I want to think about that when I'm drawing my circle. And that's a little bit more like an oval. So maybe this time I can go out a little bit more. But again, this doesn't have to be perfect. We're just learning. Okay, so there's my top circle and my bottom circle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw lines that connect from here to here, and this is creating my head shape. Because if you look in the mirror, the sides of your head are wider than down by your chin. That's why we want a big one and a little one. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my line down like this. I cut it in a little bit, and then I'm going to go up here. So it's mainly connecting this part right here, right? Now, this is really messy because I've done it all with big marker. So what you can do, once you make this outline, if you're working with pencil, you can erase all these other lines that are in here now. Since I can't do that, I'm just going to take this piece of paper and I'm going to trace over it. Now let's see on the camera. Yep, you can see through there. So that's another thing. If you only have a marker, you can put one piece of paper on top of the other. Now I'm going to trace this head shape so I don't have all those other messy lines to contend with. All right, so I traced that. That's my head shape. So I'm going to take this out from under here to get rid of it. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to use my folded piece of paper again. I am going to find the center going this way and the center going this way. So if I go to my widest point, I think my center is about there for up and down. And for here, I think my center is going to be about right there. So now I'm going to take my folded piece of paper or my ruler, and I'm going to draw a line this way. And again, you want to do this lightly with your pencil, okay? Because this is another guideline. You're going to want to delete this when you're finished, or not delete it, erase it. Okay, so there's my center of my face. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, and this can be kind of tricky, I want to divide from here to here into 5 equal spaces. Now, if I've got a ruler to use, that makes it a little easier. But another thing that I have used, if you have a piece of lined paper, like from a spiral bound notebook or loose leaf like this, you can use these as rulers. So let's say I'm just going to put this little line on my paper. I hope you guys can see that. I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to put one over here. And now I'm going to count. I'm going to count spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's almost 15 spaces. Fortunately for me, here's where you can do a little math when you do artwork. 15 can be divided by 5. What times 5 is 15? Do you guys know? It is 3. So I know if I need to divide this into 5 equal sections, I need 5 spaces, or 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. Draw a line. 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 Now, I just got lucky and that's how it worked out. It might work out differently for you, but the whole idea is you can also do this just by eyeballing it. You want 1 space, 2 spaces, 3 spaces, 4 spaces, 5 spaces, okay? Because that is going to help you figure out where the eyes go. So the next step is the eyes, and the eyes are not going to touch in the middle, right? Because if you look at somebody in your family or a photograph, our eyes don't touch. So that's what this space is. This space is to leave open. So from this point to this point, I'm going to draw my eyes, and I'm going to draw them in an oval shape or an almond shape. So there's points on the ends and a curve up and down. And now I'm going to do that on this side too. All right. So if yours looks like this, then you have got it. And again, it is okay to stop and erase. Now I noticed when I put these 5 lines in, did you notice that my center line isn't actually in the center? And that is going to mess things up for me. So I'm going to actually try and find the center. And I'm going to redraw this line. If this was in pencil, I would just erase this line, right? But I can't do that, so I'm just going to put a little X on it so I know to ignore that line. Okay, so we've got our eyes. The next thing we want to do is figure out where the nose is going to go. And fortunately, there's this really cool thing you can do with math to figure that out. So first, find the very center of your eye. Draw a little dot. Now, I don't know if you guys have studied this term in math class, but there is a thing called an equilateral triangle. And that means that the distance from here to here, if I made a triangle and I wanted the bottom to be down here, I want it to be the same distance as these. So again, I'm going to take my folded piece of paper. I'm going to make a line where that center eye is, and a line where that center eye is. And now I want to make the bottom part of my triangle. So now I can swing this down. See how I'm keeping it on the eye? And I want to get this right there. So again, get that to the dot and that on the line. That means that this line is the same length as the distance between the center of the eyes. And now I'm going to take my paper down again. I'm going to go from the center of the eye down where the other part landed. And that is an equilateral triangle because all the sides are the same. And this line that we created right here tells us where the bottom of the nose is going to be. So I'm going to draw a little curved line here because most of us have pretty round ends on our nose. Okay, so we've got that done. Now we are going to, I'm going to add 2 more lines here for the other part of the nose, the little side pieces. And then just a little bit below that, you're going to draw a line for the mouth. It can be just a little straight one. And just below that line, you're going to draw a little triangle. And that triangle represents the bottom part of your lip, okay? So we've got that done. Now we need to add the ears. So if we look at this straight line across that went through our eyes, that is the top of where your ears typically land. And if you draw a line from the bottom of the nose over like this, that is where the bottom of the ear ends. So you can make your ear go like this. That's one ear. You can make the ear go the other way. There you go. Now you've got 2 ears on your face. You know where the eyes are, where the nose is, where the mouth is. We want to put some eyebrows in, but before I do eyebrows, I usually add the hair. Okay, so we know where our ears is, and if we want to do like a curly natural hair, so this is where the top of your head would be, right? And you don't want to lay the hair right on the top because then it's not going to look very real. So what you do, because your hair usually stands up from your head a little bit, you just want to make some little wiggly lines above that where your top of your circle was. And then the same thing on the inside. And usually your hair comes down a little bit more in the front. So I'm going to go like that. And now that you have that, you can kind of figure out or look in the mirror and see how far are my eyebrows above my eyes. They aren't too super far up. So I'm going to put one eyebrow there and I'm going to put one eyebrow there. And also if you want to draw a surprised face, go look in the mirror once and make a surprised face and you'll notice that your eyebrows go up. So if you want your face to look surprised, your person to look surprised, make your eyebrows taller. Okay, now this is the point where you would erase these lines and your triangle lines. You'd get rid of all of those. Again, since I can't do that with my marker, you'd get rid of this too, and these lines. Since I can't do that, I'm going to trace my face again and show you what we're left with. And it's going to look a lot better than it did a minute ago. So I'm going to go around my eyes. And this time, if my one eye was a little bigger than the other, I can try and fix that just a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to put my eyebrows in. And if you guys are deciding to trace yours instead of erase, make sure you hold on to your paper tightly. Now I'm going to put my nose in. And instead of just drawing a line for the mouth, I am going to give it that little kind of bump in the middle. And then there's the line at the bottom for the bottom of the lip. Okay, so I've got that done. Now, I don't want to do the top of the head curve. Now I want to draw the curls in and where they would land. And we can do Maybe next week I can do a video for you guys on some techniques for drawing some different types of hairstyles. But for today, we're just going to go as if I'm going to have this one be a girl, as if she just had her hair beautifully natural. So it's just a nice little short curl. And now, instead of drawing the line of the face there, I'm going to start here at the bottom. And I'm going to go like this and up here. Okay, so now we've got the basic shape of our face. Now we can add the details. So this is a good time actually to stop your video and take a look at your eye. Actually, if you look, you can see on here, I've put in a photograph of an eye, okay? And I want you to look at the colored part of the eye, the iris. I want you to notice that it doesn't float in the middle. The eye, unless you've opened your eyes really big because you're scared, the eye goes from the top to the bottom. You can only see the white part on the sides. So I want you to draw these in here, okay? So that's the iris. And then there's the pupil, and depending which way you're looking will be where the pupil is. So I'm going to draw mine pretty straightforward. It's going to be a little bit at the bottom. So I guess I'm having her look a little bit down, and then you always want to include a white space because that is how light reflects in your pupil. So I like to do little triangles. I know some of you are really good at drawing faces, and I've seen you do double circles for the eyes, for the reflection. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it, okay? So now I've got eyes on there. I'm going to give my nose a little bit more curve. There's the top of my lip, the bottom. I'm going to put a little line there, and maybe I want to fill those lips out a little more and go like that. So there you go. I hope you guys learned something on this art lesson. Now go ahead and you can vary this and draw it a bunch of different ways. You can go like this and add different size eyelashes. Oh, there was one more trick I was going to show you guys too. Now, if you want to draw the neck, you want to start right about here. Typically, the wider the neck is, will make the picture look like a typical man or a typical woman. So if I do the neck here, a smaller neck, she's going to look a little bit more like a girl, right? But if I put this here, and I'm going to show you this, if I cover it up, draw the chin back in, if I draw the line from here, it should go out a little bit. Then if you look at it immediately, because this is how we recognize from what we've seen, then it looks more like a guy. So you can go in and do all different things with your face, but just remember to keep practicing. And if you got stuck on any of this, you can rewind the video and look it again. Next week, we will work on different hairstyles, okay? Hope you guys had fun with this. Keep drawing. We miss you. Bye.